Hey, what's up? This is Justin with Sillage Scents. Today I've got a quick video for you with 7 fragrances that are perfect for the spring. You know, I'm thinking fragrances that are kind of green, they're lively, they're bright, they feel like everything coming to life. And around here, we've been having some unseasonably warm weather the last couple weeks. And I'm looking at some of these thinking, man, I'm ready to break them out and go ahead and start wearing them. So as we get into this, please subscribe to my channel. Help me get to 1,000 here in the next couple months. And also let me know in the comments, what would you add to this list? What are your quintessential spring fragrances? All right, so first up, we're going to go with one that was definitely made for the spring. This is a cheapy gem, Banana Republic 78 Vintage Green. This thing smells like citrus and fresh cut grass. I don't know how else to say it, but it smells great. It is green, it's citrus, it's subtly sweet. It's very bright and lively. The only downside would be performance. It seems to only have about a 4-hour performance. I haven't tested it a whole lot, but it smells amazing. You might just have to re-up halfway through the day. All right, the next one we're going to go with, this one would have to be on a list of quintessential spring fragrances because this is a clone of Creed's Green Irish Tweed. This is, of course, Armaf's Très Nuit. And so this is a green fragrance, not overly green like vintage green is, but it's got some, a little bit of sweetness. It's got an iris note. It's got a little bit of violet leaf that's going to give you just something unique. I've been able to identify violet leaf in fragrances more and more, and there's sort of the gasoline way that it's used in like Fahrenheit, but then there's this other very interesting way that it's used in fragrances like ombre leather, and this one leans more towards that, a little more of kind of the fresh violet leaf. But the star of the show is going to be lemon verbena, and then you've got that fresh iris, you've got the violet leaf, you've got, they say ambergris, but ambroxan. Just a beautiful, beautiful, fresh fragrance that is absolutely perfect for the spring. And the lemon verbena, again, is the thing that's really going to stick out to you. All right, next up I'll go with one that I just got. They've got it on FragranceNet right now for about $8 for a 10 mil. The only downside is I thought it was a spray, but it's actually a splash. I'm talking about FERRARI Noble Fig. These things are getting harder and harder to find, but you can pick them up now for $8 each. And this fragrance is really interesting. It's got mandarin orange. It's got some pink pepper. It's got fig leaf, of course, which is going to give it a little bit of a green quality. And it really, whenever you spray it on or splash it on, in this instance, is going to give you that mandarin and that greenness from the fig leaf, but the pepper and some patchouli in the base also give it something very interesting, something a little bit dark, a little bit not quite smoky, but not totally unlike smokiness either. It's got sweetness, greenness, and something slightly spicy and slightly dark from the patchouli and the pepper, as well as some other notes. This is a great spring fragrance, but if you're going to pick up the 10 mil, remember that it's a splash and not a spray. All right, the next one we'll go with, this one is a floral fragrance. It's one that a lot of people will wear in the winter, probably 3 seasons except for summer. But for me, the spring is kind of the perfect time for this scent before it gets too hot in late spring. This is a clone of Tom Ford's Black Orchid, and this is Ard Al-Zafran's Oud 24 Hours. And so you're going to get this awesome floral fragrance with chocolate and some subtle spices. And again, in sort of late winter, early spring is the perfect time for this fragrance. as everything's starting to come alive. Some flowers are starting to bloom. This is one of the few floral fragrances that I like, and it's because it's floral with some darkness from the chocolate and some spices. And to me, it's a masculine fragrance, even though it's floral, and it's great for the spring. Next up, this one to me is kind of the spring counterpart to Versace's Mano Fresh, which I think is kind of an all year round fragrance, but it really shines in summer. This one really shines in spring, and it is Mont Blanc STARWALKER. It's actually quite similar to Mano Fresh, but it's got this bamboo note that adds just a little bit of a green quality. It reminds you a little bit of like wearing Mano Fresh in the rain or something like that. It's a great spring fragrance. It's got subtle sweetness, it's got a lot of freshness, and that bamboo note that sets it apart from the Mano Fresh DNA, which this will really remind you of. All right, let's see. We've got just a couple more. This next one is not a clone, but it's similar to Bleu de Chanel. I actually prefer this one to Bleu de Chanel. This is MISSONI Parfum. I've got a lot of blue fragrances, and some of them I like for certain seasons. This one I really like for spring more than for summer. And that's because this one's got a little bit of darkness. So it's got the sort of ginger citrus opening that you're going to find in a lot of blue fragrances. It's got a woodsy dry down, but the way that it uses birch is a little bit smoky. And there's a little bit of darkness in it and a little bit of something in the heart that reminds me, I need to figure out what this note is, but there's something a little bit funky in the heart of Dior Sauvage. And I bet that this shares a note with it, because that same note that I love that's mysterious is in the heart of this one. And when you add those sort of bright blue characteristics that so many blue fragrances share with that something special that I don't know how to define, as well as the smokiness that you get from this one, or something that'll remind you of smokiness from the birch, this is a great blue fragrance for spring, and it is a parfum, and so it's got some strength. It's a really great one for the spring. All right, this next one is going to be humorous to show in a video, but when I bought this, I wasn't doing videos. I was just buying fragrances I like, and I think it was FragranceNet had the little 5 ml bottles of this and several other fragrances for less than $5 each, and so I picked up a handful of them. This is Givenchy Gentleman, the EDT. And so this one is vanilla and iris. You've also got a little bit of fruitiness in the opening, but it's done in a very fresh way, a way that's perfect for spring. I think the EDP and even the Reserve Privé, those are beautiful cold weather fragrances, but this one is perfect for spring. And whenever you buy these little 5 mils, what I do is I'll take a little 5 ml decant spray bottle like this and just dump it in there, and you've got, a little spray bottle you can carry around. So whether you buy a full-size bottle, which is what I would recommend, or whether you get one of the little ones and put it in a decant, this is a beautiful vanilla and fresh iris fragrance that actually reminds me a little bit, funny enough, maybe more than a little bit, it reminds me of Smarties, the white Smarties, which are kind of fruity and vanilla. That's kind of what this one reminds me of, but the iris just makes it come alive, makes it perfect for spring. Just be sure that whenever you pick this one up, that you're getting this one with the black label and the white writing, rather than the one it's maybe called Classic or something like that. There's one from the 70s that's much more of an old school fragrance that's totally different than this one. So if you like iris fragrances, this one has got fresh iris and vanilla and a little bit of fruitiness, and it's wonderful for the spring. So that was my 7 quintessential spring fragrances that I'm just about ready to pull out if the weather doesn't cool off again. But let me know in the comments, what are your ultimate spring fragrances? And please subscribe to my channel, and I'll look forward to seeing you on the next video. Thanks.